Maria stood by the tall window of her small apartment, watching the rain slide slowly down the glass. Each drop left a faint trail, as though it carried a secret it wanted to share. She pressed her palm against the cold pane, and the soft patter of water on the roof felt like a gentle heartbeat. In that steady rhythm, Maria felt a calm she had not known for months. She closed her eyes and let the sound wash over her. The English audio lesson playing softly through her headphones mixed with the rain's percussion. It was an exercise she practiced each morning, listening to short stories in clear, slow English. Today's story was about finding courage in small things. The familiar voice reminded her that every challenge, no matter how big, could be faced, one small step at a time. A memory rose in her mind, bright and clear. She was 8 years old, sitting on her father's lap in their old car, parked under a willow tree. He was reading her a story about a brave little bird that flew beyond the forest to see the sea. Maria remembered the warmth of his voice, the way he paused to explain a difficult word, and how he encouraged her to repeat it aloud. "Listen with your heart," he had said, "and the words will stay with you." That memory warmed her chest. Since his passing a year ago, Maria felt as though a piece of her own heart was missing. His gentle guidance, his endless patience in teaching her English, had shaped her childhood. Now she used audio lessons and podcasts to fill the silence he left behind. Still, something felt incomplete. Today, she decided she would go back home. Not the city she lived in now, but her parents' small hometown 30 miles away. She had avoided it for too long. Every corner of that place held echoes of the past, both happy and painful. But she needed to face those echoes if she was to move forward. Pulling on her raincoat, Maria slung her backpack over one shoulder. Inside were her notebook, a pen, and 2 audio players, one with her English lessons and the other, a recorder containing old messages from her father. He had left her those recordings on her last birthday, little snippets of advice and storytelling meant to guide her through life. She hesitated before tucking the recorder into her coat pocket, as though doing so might somehow trap his voice, forever in metal and plastic. Yet she knew she must carry it with her today. The bus stop was only 2 blocks away, but under the steady rain, it felt like a journey. She hurried along the slick pavement, listening to her shoes splash in shallow puddles. At the corner, she slowed, spotting a familiar figure beneath the bus shelter, a young man she often saw but never spoke to. He held a worn book in one hand and a steaming cup of coffee in the other. He looked up and their eyes met. "Morning," he said, offering a small smile. Maria nodded. "Morning." He gestured to the coffee. "Want to share? The roof here leaks," she laughed softly. "I'd love that." He passed her the cup. The warmth seeped into her fingers and then into her chest. She offered him the umbrella she always kept in her bag. "Will you let me buy you coffee someday?" she asked. "Deal," he said, tucking the umbrella into her hand. The bus arrived with a sigh of brakes and hydraulics. They climbed aboard together. Maria sat by the window as usual, and he took the seat beside her. She pressed play on her English, Story. Today's lesson was a conversation between two friends planning a surprise party. The dialogue was simple, the pace slow. She listened, repeating phrases under her breath. Each time she spoke, she felt her confidence grow, as though her father's patient voice were guiding her. After the lesson ended, she took out the small recorder. The bus's motion rocked her gently as she pressed the play button. Her father's voice filled her ears. "Maria, remember that words carry power. Use them well, and they will open doors you never thought possible. Speak kindly, listen always, and let your heart be your guide." The memory of his smile warmed her again, and tears blurred her vision. She set the recorder down and closed her eyes. Across the aisle, the young man was watching her with concern. He leaned over. "Everything okay?" She wiped her eyes and smiled. "Yes, just remembering something important." He nodded gently and returned to his book. For the rest of the ride, neither spoke. Yet Maria felt less alone. When the bus reached her old town, she stepped off into a drizzle. The streets were quiet. Gray clouds hid the sun, and the gentle hum of the rain against rooftops filled the air. She walked along the familiar sidewalk, past the bakery with its faded sign, past the playground where children's laughter once rang out, past the old oak tree that had guarded the town square for centuries. Her mother's house came into view, a small white clapboard home with a blue door and a garden that once burst with roses. Now the plants were overgrown, weeds creeping between stones. The sight made Maria's chest tighten. She paused at the gate, listening to the soft audio lesson still playing in her ears. Today's story described a gardener who tended broken soil until flowers bloomed again. She opened the gate and walked up the path. The door creaked as she turned the knob. Inside, the house was dim, the curtains drawn. Her mother sat at the kitchen table, her back straight and her shoulders tight. A single lamp cast a soft glow on a drawing her mother had been working on, a sketch of a young girl and her father beneath a willow tree. Maria's throat tightened. "Mom?" Her mother looked up, startled. Her eyes were red, and for a moment Maria thought she would cry. Then she stood and crossed the room. They embraced silently, rainwater dripping from their coats onto the wooden floor. "I thought you wouldn't come back," her mother whispered. Maria shook her head into her mother's shoulder. "I needed to. I've missed you." They sat at the table together. Her mother poured tea into 2 mugs, the steam curling between them. Outside, the rain continued its steady song. Over tea, Maria told her mother about the audio lessons and the recorder messages. She played the clip of her father's voice about words carrying power. Her mother's hand covered Maria's. "He always believed in you," she said. "You have his gift." Maria closed her eyes and let her tears fall. "I've been so afraid to lose that gift." Her mother squeezed her hand. "It's inside you. It always has been." After a while, they moved to the living room. Maria brought out her notebook and pen. On the pages were words she had scrawled each morning as she practiced English. New vocabulary, phrases, short sentences describing her feelings. She read aloud, "I listened to rain, I remember my father. My heart feels strong. Her mother listened, her eyes bright. Your English is beautiful. Maria smiled. She opened her notebook to a blank page and began to write a letter to her father. Dear Dad, I am here now. I hear the rain, and I remember your voice. I am learning to listen with my heart, just as you taught me. I will speak with kindness and courage, and I will carry your words inside me always. She paused, looking at her mother. I want to share. These stories, our stories, so others can learn too. Will you help me record them? We can make audio lessons together. Her mother's face softened. I would like that very much. In the days that followed, they worked side by side. Each morning, they sat under the oak tree in the square with a small recorder and a notebook. Maria read passages she had written in simple, clear English. Her mother helped her choose words that would resonate with learners, explaining meaning, pausing for repetition, and adding gentle explanations. They talked about bravery, about kindness, about listening, both with ears and with heart. Neighbors, passing by, smiled and waved. Children gathered around, curious about the voices speaking into the recorder. The old gardener from the corner joined them one afternoon, offering Maria fresh flowers for their set. He told her he loved to listen to her practice, how it reminded him of mornings when his own grandmother read poetry to him. Each evening, Maria returned to the apartment she had kept in the city. She played back the day's recordings, listening to her voice and her mother's, hearing the warmth and the hope woven into each sentence. She practiced pronunciation, repeating tricky words until they felt natural. She listened until her heart felt full. One night, after weeks of work, she sat by the same window where the story began. The rain had stopped, and the moonlight reflected off wet pavement. She pressed play on the final recording. Her father's voice came first, echoing from the past. Use your words well, and they will open doors. Then her own voice, clear and strong. I listen with my heart. I speak with kindness. I carry your words, always. Tears glistened on her cheeks, but they were tears of joy. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. The journey had been long and sometimes painful, but she had found her way back to her family, to her past, and to the power of her own voice. In the days that followed, Maria shared their audio lessons online. Listeners from around the world wrote to her, telling her how the simple stories had helped them learn English. They wrote about finding courage, about healing old wounds, and about the magic of listening with the heart. Maria read each message, her heart swelling with gratitude. She realized that her father's gift had grown into something even more beautiful. A bridge connecting hearts across oceans and languages. And whenever she felt doubt, she pressed play on the recorder, listening to that steady, caring voice that had taught her to listen, learn, and love.